A recent survey found more than 70% of adults worried that they don't have enough money to retire. But there are steps that you can take to get ready, whether retirement is decades away or right around the corner. Local financial professional John Vandergrift, that's him right there from Blue Ridge Wealth Planners, here with some saving strategies really for every stage of life. So if someone is planning to retire soon, what do they need to make sure they do to have enough money?
Yeah. Well, I think the foundation piece, especially that close, is making sure that you've got your income squared away.
Right.
Because, again, you know, whether it's Social Security, if you're lucky enough to sell a pension, but also looking at your savings. And one of the biggest challenges people have today is taking their 401k and turning it into a bucket that pays them on a repeatable and consistent basis. Right. So if you don't know how to do that, meeting with a financial professional is never a bad thing.
Right.
Again, you see our information there, BlueRidgeWealth.com, if you don't know where to turn. But talking to somebody about the goals that you have and then what your money needs to be positioned to accomplish that is really the key that close to retirement.
But putting that into something that generates money, is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, because, you know, when you're prepping for, and even like the later stages that we're going to look at, growth is such a focus. It's hard for people to move from such a growth-minded portfolio to things that really give them the access they need, the safety they need on the income that's coming out. So trying to find other ways to invest just so that you know what to expect from the different kinds of investments that you have.
Okay. Now, what tips do you have for people who are still a few years away from retirement? They have more time to do this.
Yeah, so if you're over the age of 50, taking advantage of catch-up contributions, you can put an extra $7,500 into a 401k plan, more than you could to that point, but also making sure that you're taking the risk that you need to based on how far out. Some people say, well, 10 years is not a long way. A lot can happen in the markets in 10 years, so you may want to make sure that you are taking appropriate risk, and that may be more risk, or at least reallocating some things into some stock areas, especially if there are some dips in the market.
Now, for people that it says, oh, it's a long way away, I'm only in my 30s, I'm only in 40s, I don't need to worry about that. In truth, they're the ones that really have an opportunity to not worry about it, but to get motivated and do something, right?
Well, and I think for younger people today, if you want to have a chance at retiring in the future, I would imagine that Social Security is going to look a lot different than it does now. So really prioritizing putting money away and saving and letting compound interest work with you so that you can take advantage of the time that you have away from retirement, the risk potential that you can take since you aren't needing this money in a few years, maybe several decades, and really staying the course. You know, it's easy to see the markets move your balances all over the place, but when you're younger, that's the time to take the risk and just maybe turn off access to the 401ks, you know, and make sure that you stay invested for the long term, because as you buy in, and especially during those times, dollar cost averaging and just continuing to contribute is really the key so that you can maximize what you're saving.
Yeah, it's tough to keep the emotions out sometimes, but that's what you really need to do.
Right? More than anything else. Emotional decisions are bad decisions typically.
Right.
So
maybe that's why they just need someone like you and say, hey, let me worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of that.
Yeah.
So.
All right, John, thank you very much. Lori.